So, Shannon, here's the question. Is TB12 winning the MVP?
No, his season has been very overrated. I think Rodgers, if you look at it numbers-wise, record-wise, Rodgers has been more impressive. I thought yesterday the Bucs went out of their way, made a concerted effort to throw the ball over 50 times against a very porous Falcons defense. Just for people at home, put little numbers. The Falcons are dead last in sacks. They're 31st in points allowed. They're 19th in pass defense. They're 23rd overall. So they're not a very good defense. You know they're not a very good defense because your Cowboys hung 43 points on them. So looking at what Tom Brady is doing, Tom Brady is on pace to be only the second player in NFL history to throw the ball over 700 times. He's currently he has the fifth most pass attempts, Skip, through 5 games. Brady has thrown the ball 135 more times than Aaron Rodgers. So if you project that out, he's probably throwing the ball about 3.5 full games more than Aaron Rodgers is throwing the football. And I'm going to shock you because you told me that Tom Brady take care of the football. Did you know, Skip, he threw another pick 6?
He did.
That's 2 pick 6s this year. Aaron Rodgers has 3 of those in 18 years. 10 INTs, 12 total turnovers, ranks him bottom in the league. 7 interceptions in his last 5 ball games. Did you know, people at home, that Tom Brady has more turnovers than Big Ben, Matthew Stafford, and 1 Daniel Jones? Now, we think Daniel Jones is a turnover machine, but this year, Tom Brady has turned the ball over more than Daniel Jones. He's turned the ball over Matthew Stafford. And we all know at the beginning of the year, you have very little to no respect for Matthew Stafford. And they've taken better care of the football than Tom Brady. So for me, yes, the numbers, 34 touchdowns, I think 10 interceptions. Yeah, those are great numbers. But Aaron Rodgers is 23-4. 4 total turnovers.
Only 23? What happened?
He
got a sore arm?
No. They don't go out of their way. They have Aaron Jones. They have Dillon. They will run the football. And when they get inside the 3-yard line, they don't just try to throw the ball to Leonard Fournette. They don't throw the ball to Cameron Brate. They've turned Leonard Fournette into an Alvin Kamara. That's not what they took it with. Jacksonville took it with the 5th pick or the 7th pick overall for. But congratulations to him. He's turned himself into a very good pass catcher of the football. But you saw what happened yesterday, Skip. They went out of their way, and it cost them a situation where late in the first half, right before the halftime, Brady ended up throwing a 3-yard pick 6. Tried to get a screen pass off, and the defensive tackle did a great loop and got it around. But no, Skip, I'm not ready to concede anything. Aaron Rodgers, 23 touchdowns, 4 total turnovers, 3 rush touchdowns. He had better yards per attempt than Tom Brady. And the Packers' offense isn't designed to just throw like what the Bucs' offense have turned into.
That's interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
So I guess you're telling me, you're in the Hall of Fame and I'm not, but I think you're telling me that one coach says, I've got the MVP. I'm going to flaunt it. I'm going to let him throw it to death because that's what we do best. And the other coach who saw Aaron Rodgers get it 1st and goal at the 8 against Tom Brady in the NFC Championship game came out this year and said, you know what? We got to start taking the ball out of Aaron's hands and getting it into the other Aaron's hands. And speaking of Kamara, the closest thing I've seen to Kamara is Aaron Jones.
But that's what you told me. You told me the guy that's equally as, if not more important than Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Jones because he can run it and throw it.
That's what I said.
Okay, so with that
apparently the Green Bay coach, a very young head coach, is with me on that because he is starting to drift toward Aaron Jones. And obviously they got 2 very good backs now, but they're just saying that's our strength. Aaron's not our strength anymore. We've got to hammer away or flip away with those 2 backs.
But what do we see the Bucs do down the stretch last year? They ran Leonard Fournette. They ran Rojo. And we saw in the Super Bowl what happened. We saw in the playoff games. They did a lot more diversifying of their portfolio than what they had done in the regular season. But I think this is a conscious effort. And Skip, I don't have a price. It's not like I got a problem with it. If you want to go out and try to get the guy the MVP, hey, and if it's not going to cost you ball games, by golly gee whiz, do what you do. But I'm just saying, let's not pretend that what he's doing is just like, I can see Skip at this point in time, if he had, say, 40 touchdowns and 3 or 4 interceptions. But the INT rate is, because you know this, the more you put the ball in the air, the greater chance it is for an interception. A tip, we saw what happened with Mahomes last night. Another tip by Tyreek, and it's an INT. So you greatly increase the risk of you turning the ball over. But I'm not going to take a whole lot out of Atlanta. Skip, now you know you don't have, after watching Atlanta again, and I know you watched that game, after seeing them against your Cowboys, you know they're not a very good defensive team.
Okay, I'm going to go bigger picture here. I predicted before the year started that the 44-year-old in Tampa Bay was going to win the MVP, and he is doing it right before your very crossed eyes, because it is shocking that he now has 34 touchdown passes. I predicted 50. He's got a shot at 50. He's going to have to average a little over 3 for the last 5 games. Could he do that? They've got Buffalo coming next week on a short week, obviously, after the huge game tonight in Buffalo against New England. Then they got a revenge game against the Saints on Sunday night. We know what the Saints and Drew Brees did to them last year on a Sunday night. It was death and destruction.
That's definitely a different ball game.
I'd say.
With the quarterback
then
situation.
They have 2 games left against Carolina. It's at Carolina in the middle of this, at Jets, and then Carolina at home. Could he do this? Yes, he could. Could he get to 50, which is his career high in 2007 with Randy Moss? Yes, he could. Could it hinge a little bit on AB's return? It might a little bit. We're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. Will he return, or should they just go ahead and cut him? That's another big issue hanging over this team. But right here, right now, Tom Brady is leading the league at 314 pass yards per game. That's pretty extraordinary for age 44. And I'm going to give you, he made one horrendous mistake yesterday. I'm not sure I've ever seen him make a worse mistake than the pick six that he threw right at the end of the half when it looked like they were just going to shut it down. And all of a sudden he tries a little screen pass and Marlon Davidson just drifts out. He's a defensive tackle. He lines up completely inside and he slides outside.
He ran a little stunt on him. He looped outside.
And he kept looping and looping and looping. And he looped right in the way of the football. And before you knew it, I was dumbfounded to see that an Atlanta Falcon has the football in the end zone.
That was a heck of a play by D. Lima.
3 yards away, he did it. He was a good player at Auburn. I liked him in Auburn. He was a second-round pick 2 years ago. So he's a talented kid.
But this is what happens. Normally what a team do, Skip, with 20 seconds on the clock and you're backed up like that. You run the ball and you get off the field. But that's not what they did, because they're trying to greatly increase Tom, get some passing yardage, increase his numbers, and then it ran him into that situation. That situation I don't think happens to anybody else, because nobody on the 3-yard line, Skip, is throwing the football in that situation. Okay,
so what that drove home to me was that Tom Brady is, in fact, human. That actually underscored that once again. He's very human, which makes it even more impressive how inhumanly he's playing at age 44 after many Hall of Famers, starting with you, tried to send him home 4 or 5 years ago.
But Skip, but do you notice, Skip, you can't say the game that you covered is very different than the game Tom Brady plays. You know that. You covered this game far too long to think the physicality of what you covered is the same as it is now. You see that. They've legislated physicality out of the ball game. We saw a play last night where the guy got a pick and Kitchens cracked back on him. They've legislated physicality out of the game.
I'm glad they got that one out of the game, because that was a almost lethal kind of shot. But I've seen Warren Sapp deliver those in the past to Green Bay, right?
Well, actually, it's called the Hines Ward rule.
Well,
when he broke Keith Rivers.
But I've seen a number of those where it's close to, it's like Kermit Washington.
But that's the thing, Skip. You remember how they used to be able to attack the quarterback. You were at the game where Goose slammed Rich Gannon and put him out for the game. You do that now, that's a fine. They're going to might even kick. You do that to Tom Brady, they're throwing you out of the game. So I'm just saying, Skip, I'm not poo-pooing, because at 44, it's impressive what he's doing. But the game is not nearly as physical as it once was, and so guys are able to play longer. I'm not going to be surprised. You're going to see more quarterbacks, Skip, play 40 and beyond and have success. I'm not going to say they're going to have the level of success that Brady is, but they're going to have a level of success that we had never seen before from guys 40 and older playing that position.
Yet what I appreciate about Tom Brady is that he has figured out how to take the physicality out of the game, because there's an art form to getting rid of the ball quickly. There's an art form to sensing the rush from all sides and having extreme radar, where we saw what happened to Justin Fields in the preseason, where you just get clocked by the
you're never going to catch a veteran. You're not going to catch him like that.
You're not going to catch him like that, because the ball is going to be gone. So I'll give you this stat, that Tom has thrown the most passes this year with the fewest sacks in pro football.
Yes.
Okay, that has a lot to do with his offensive line, but I believe it has even more to do with the fact Brady is the greatest speed reader, the Evelyn Wood of the National Football League in history, because he's speed reading so quickly, the ball is going to be gone. He's not even going to give you a chance to take a sack. He's going to wear out your defensive line because you're going to keep trying and trying and trying to get to him. And by the second half, you're going to be exhausted because you can't reach him before the ball is gone. Even if you get a little bit of an edge on the guy who's trying to block you, the ball is going to be out.
Well, they've done a great job of Skip. You look at Chris Godwin had 15 catches for 143 yards. That's less than 10 yards a catch. He only had 2 receivers that had had double-digit yards per catch. So what it's showing you, Skip, they do a lot of screen. Their running game basically is the little screen game, the little quick pass, the flat passes to the running back, the little jailbreak screens to Chris Godwin. He get 2 blockers in front of him. So that's why it's so hard, Skip. It's hard to blitz him because they catch you just right with a jailbreak screen, and then Chris Godwin is out the gate, or Gronk or Cameron Brate's out the gate. So they've done a great job of designing because, like you said, he's 44. You're not trying to subject him to hold the ball to a lot of 5- and 7-step drops. But let's not poo-poo the fact, though, Skip. They're throwing the ball at an enormous rate. They are. And he has good numbers, but he's turned the ball over more than we've ever seen Tom turn it over.
Well, that not more than, because if you do it by rate with how many attempts he has, it's sort of on par with what he would usually do. And by the way, you have disqualified 4 of his picks in the past as not his fault.
But Skip, we see that, but it's still good. You think that pick last night was Mahomes' fault?
No. That was a Tyreek. He popped it up in the air.
But that's what I'm saying.
But it wasn't a deadly accurate pass either, and we're going to talk about that later.
Right. But I just think the thing is, Skip, look, Tom is throwing the ball, over 700 throws. Now, there's an outside chance he's on pace for 722. I think Matthew Stafford, about 5 or 6 years ago, Skip, had 727. There's an outside chance because they got Carolina, you mentioned Carolina, they got the Jets. So there's a great chance, Skip, he throws the ball a couple of more times, at least 50 times in the ball game.
Okay.
Especially if he's going to have the type of success
that he had. If they were losing, I would accept your argument, but they're not losing.
No.
They're 9-3, and they have a really good shot right now of being the number 1 seed in the NFC, because Arizona still has the Rams a week from tonight on Monday Night Football. Then the Rams also have Indy at home. Arizona. Arizona has the Rams and then has Indy at home. And then at Cowboys, and don't write us off there. You never know.
Good luck catching Kyler.
Okay, and then it's Seattle to close. But my point is there are 3 dicey games down the stretch. They could lose 2 of those games, and guess what might happen? Whoops, here they come. And you've got Green Bay sitting with the tiebreaker over Tampa Bay right now.
And Arizona, because they beat Arizona.
They're still a game back.
Right.
But they have Chicago, but then they go to Baltimore. They have Cleveland at home. They got the Vikings at home. So these are all dangerous games. It could flip.
Baltimore's dangerous? You feel after what you saw from Baltimore?
At Baltimore, I think they're dangerous. That was at Pittsburgh yesterday.
Yeah, but we saw them against Cleveland.
I told you, beware of the Steelers. I told you, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. So
no,
the point
beware
is,
Lamar.
What's that?
Beware Lamar.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that. This is the 6th game this year that Tom Brady has thrown at least 4 touchdown passes. 5 other quarterbacks in history have had 6 or more games with 4 or more touchdown passes. All 5 of them won the MVP that year because it was 2 Peytons, it was an Aaron Rodgers, it was a Patrick Mahomes, and it was a Dan Marino. So I would say that puts Brady in pretty great company. And on a pretty good arc toward MVP, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
And remember, he's got 6 of those with 5 games to go. Could he have another 4-touchdown game at Jets? Sure he could.
He could have a couple more, 2 or 3 more.
Okay, he might. So here we come, and yet he has become mostly the whole show without AB, because who's his favorite deep threat target? It's AB. And again, AB is very valuable to that team because, remember, AB, when the games he played, the 5 games, they won all 5 of them. Without AB, they're 4-3.
Right.
So AB's crucial to this,
Well, when he wants to throw deep, but Skip, if you look at what they throw more times than not, it's a lot to Chris Godwin, even to Gronk. Now, Gronk has been able to get down the field a little bit. I don't know how teams are defending Gronk. He's still Rob Gronkowski. I think people are like, man, he can't get open. He's not as fluid. He was never, Skip, like a fluid tight end. He was always big and cumbersome. Yep. But he's even more now. But he's still Rob Gronkowski. You still better respect him and not just put anybody. You think you could put your fourth or fifth corner on him and D him up, and you can't.
Yep. So he actually has two possession-type receivers who have made a Pro Bowl before, the year before he came.
Right.
Chris Godwin, Mike Evans.
Well, Mike Evans made several Pro Bowls.
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying. But they were Pro Bowlers pre-Brady coming. Could we see the two plays in that second scoring drive by Tom Brady, the first to Chris Godwin, if we could? Tell me this isn't arm strength. That's a rocket that he throws to Chris Godwin. It's a nice catch, but he's fairly covered, and he is thrown open by that rocket because it was right on time, right on target. And here's the next one. He says, well, I've got the other guy down the boundary over here, and he back shoulders Mike Evans.
Thinking. Okay, bro, get deep. What are you doing?
All right, back shoulder. My point is, at 44, do you see diminished arm strength? I know everybody's saying when he went to Tampa, well, he's declining arm talent. Really? Is that declining? Did you see those two throws?
I think the thing is, Skip, as guys start to get older, what people are looking at, nobody envisioned Tom leaving New England and going to get this plethora of weapons outside. They were just looking at him in New England with Julian Edelman, with what they had, and with Lacoste and all those guys, and you're like, man, Tom is looking bad. Come to find out, it's not that he was looking bad. He just needed more help. Yep. The days of Tom being able to elevate everybody around him, no matter how bad they were over. So he just needed more help. Now you see him with Godwin and Mike Evans and some of these other guys. You're like, well, damn, Tom might got 3 or 4 more years.
That is correct. Thank you very much. Tom Brady is simply the greatest red zone touchdown thrower we've ever seen because now in 2 years, no risk it, no biscuit, Bruce Arians' offense, in the red zone, he's thrown 0 interceptions. So he just picks you to pieces. Once they get inside the 20, you are toast.
Right.
Not him, you are. And if we could see the touchdown passes yesterday, please, in order. And again, you say a lot of these are simple, but this is a sweet little. He's rolling out. That's Tom Brady at 44 on the run, throwing that. And it was a really sweet catch by Fournette. And there's another one to Cameron Brate. Same play to Cameron Brate. And then here we go. This one's to Gronkowski, who we'll get back to that one in just a second. But then we got another one, little fade to Gronk for the 4th touchdown. And it's just a beautiful throw and catch. That is virtually unstoppable. Yeah. If you execute it correctly, you can't stop that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the second to last touchdown pass, the longer one to Gronk, is the classic Brady slapping his thigh to Gronk saying, I got you single on a linebacker, just go. Remember what he did against Dallas on opening Thursday night?
Actually, that's a safety he got him on, 32.
Okay, but he just said, whoever came up, I think a linebacker looked like he was coming up to take him. And he said, we got this. And he said, just go. Just run a deeper route. And
I think Olakun tried to get a jam on him.
What a great combo. And they now have a chance to become the greatest touchdown combo in NFL history because of their wavelength. And yet, when you think about it, it's a 6th-round draft pick throwing to what you just described as a lumbering tight end. We're not talking about Shannon Sharpe here. We're not talking about all the greatest tight ends, right?
Yeah, but Skip, he's just so big, and I don't think people get enough. If you've never seen Gronk up close, and now you put pads on him, and you put all, and you like, and you got a 5'9" guy trying to guard a 6'6" guy down the field, and you see what happened. They just throw it over the head. They can't. He's just too big. He's physical. And you can't give him, he's a type of guy, and Tom Brady is the same way, Skip. They say, defensive coordinator says you can't give Tom Brady a steady diet of anything, or he'll eat it, he'll find a way to be able to stomach it. Well, you can't give Gronk the same look. You can't just like, okay, we're going to get in your face. You got to feather him. Sometimes you got to freeze. Sometimes you got to play like you're going to back off him and quick jam him. Yep. Sometimes you just got to feather him and not let him get his hands on you so he can toss you around like a rag doll. You have to constantly evolve your techniques against Gronk. Because if you just try to get in his face and say, you know what, I'm going to get physical with you, you're not going to be physical enough, or you're too small to deploy the type of physicality that would be needed to neutralize him.
Okay? So in the end, what did I take away from yesterday? The Bucs defense has not yet been brought to a boil yet because they gave up 121 yards rushing, in large part because Cordell Patterson got loose once for 39, and he was ramming and slamming it right down their throat in ways I have not seen anybody over the last 2 years be able to do.
Right.
So right now, they're mostly all Brady all the time.
Right.
And they didn't try to run the ball yesterday, but they weren't able to run the ball much either. It's kind of the Cowboy syndrome. They had 57 yards rushing.
Right.
So what did they do? They threw it 51 times and they ran it only 17 times.
Right.
Okay. Is that the winning formula? Well, for now it is.
Right.
Until the defense starts to get healthier in the secondary. Jamel Dean got a concussion yesterday, so he's gone. Richard Sherman's still on IR. If those kind of players start to come back, you might be seeing a repeat of last year down the stretch where they start to become more of a defensive team.
What we started to see, Skip, is we're starting to see Ndamukong Suh look like the Ndamukong Suh in Detroit. He's starting to show his presence. He's starting to collapse the pocket.
Yep.
And we always knew he came out, got 10 sacks his first year, was Defensive Rookie of the Year. He was a many-time Pro Bowl player. But he's starting to look like that again, Skip. He's no longer just he going to stop the run and get a little pressure here and there. No, he's collapsing the pocket and putting quarterbacks on their back.
Yep. Okay. So are you giving in to the Bucs now? Are they the team to beat in the NFC?
Well, if you ask me to rank the NFC, I would go Packers, Cards, Bucs. I think all those skip all those teams on a given Sunday.
Yep.
You don't play your best, you're going home. Either one of those teams can be, even in their own building, Skip. I believe any of those teams can beat the other team in their building. This might be the best year for football because I have no idea. I can tell you, we're going to talk about the AFC in a minute. I can't tell you what's going to happen in the AFC because nobody knows. Because I just watched Cincinnati beat the brakes off of Pittsburgh and Baltimore and then get 41 hung on them by the Chargers, who just got the brakes beat off them last week. So, Skip, I have no idea. And we saw Buffalo. Buffalo was cruising along, beating everybody. And then next time we know, somebody done hung 41 on them in their building.
That is true.
Indy did. And then we see Indy turn around and just get the... So I have no idea. That's what makes it interesting. But this is going to be, you only get one bye.
Yep.
So somebody's going to have to take somebody's going to probably have to take their show on the road.
Okay. Well, I have a book it right here, right now.
What's the book?
You can book the Bucs winning it all, and you can book Brady winning MVP. Thank you very much. Case closed.
Okay.
So I don't waffle and dance.
I tell you what. You want 10 cases right now? You want another 10 cases?
10 cases?
10 cases.
On which?
Bucs don't win it all.
Don't win it all?
Do not. DONOT. Do not. Don't. Ain't.
Well, I've got 10 cases on the East right now, so why should I worry?
Yeah, because we clean the slate. You win that one, I win this one.
Okay, I'll do 5 right now on the Bucs.
Okay,
I'll take
5.
them.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.